Hello YouTube, my name is Paul. I hope you're all keeping well. Back today then with another pickup video. And surprise surprise, there's loads of Spectrum games in here. I think I'm the only person left on planet Earth still collecting for the bloody machine. Got a few Commodore 64 cartridges and a few Amiga games to show you. And I've also had 3 postcards in the post this morning, which I'll share with you in just a bit. So as you know, I'm after a full set Ocean and Imagine software collection for my Spectrum. So first up then is Firefly, a game that was developed by Special Effects. Never actually played it to be honest, but I do like the artwork. Very similar sort of artwork that was on the cover of Guts, which was a game I showed you in my previous pickup video. Now the next game, speaking of artwork, is a game by Imagine Software. It recently featured in the video that I did a few weeks ago about controversial artwork. The game is Game Over, a game developed by Dynamic and published by Imagine Software. But there's a screenshot covering where a nipple should be. I'm not actually sure if that controversial cover got released or not. If it did, I'd love to get hold of it, but this is the non-controversial cover. But again, I haven't really played the game, but I finally got it in the collection, so I'm chuffed to bits with that. There is a Game Over 2, but it's not published by Imagine or Ocean. Next up is a fantastic arcade conversion for the Spectrum, a game that recently featured in Lawnboy's Post's 1975's video. I think it was a game he put down as one of his top 10 arcade conversions. That's Bubble Bobble, a game that needs no introduction whatsoever. The Spectrum conversion is absolutely fantastic. It's a game a good friend of mine owned back in the day, and we used to spend absolutely hours playing it. And a highly addictive game. Next up on my list is a US Gold game called Survivor, which was developed by Toposoft, which is a Spanish firm. Never actually played this, but one of my subscribers, or someone who viewed one of my videos, asked if I was interested in buying it. But he quoted me a price and I found it substantially cheaper on a online game store. So I will give it a go just to check it out. Another game I got is another Imagine title. It's an arcade conversion of Slap Fight. A shoot 'em up, if I remember rightly. I've not actually played this one to be honest. I've not played it for many years, but I will be giving that a go very soon. Got a bundle of games in it. I was after a particular game in that bundle, but this one was in that bundle as well. The game is called V. Got it on the Amstrad CPC disc, which I showed you in my last pickup video, believe it or not. Game based on a 1980s sci-fi program, and it's not particularly very good either. But there you go, another game to add to the Ocean collection on the ZX Spectrum. Now the game I bought that bundle for is Typhoon. So Typhoon back in the day, this is the copy I owned, this is the game I owned on the computer I owned it on, which is the Spectrum. I also have it on the Amstrad CPC disc, which is identical to the Spectrum version. I think it must have just been a straight port over. But that's the version I owned back in the day, the Amstrad version that I've got, and I will keep it because it is a very hard to find version. So I've got one that is nostalgic and one that is more collectible. Yes, I've got that out of the way. So next up on my list is a game that I remember very well in Sinclair User magazine. Not only because of its name, but because it was one of the only 128K games that came out back in the day. You had games like Where Time Stood Still, Taipan I think was released as a 128 version. This game's called The Muncher. I just love that name. Unfortunately I don't have the pin badge that comes with the game. But it reminds me a lot of a scrolling version of Rampage. Similar kind of premise. Very good. Takes about 10 minutes to load. I did load it to the end, but I didn't play it. I don't know why. I sat there and waited 10 minutes for it to flip and load. Not play it. Maybe my dinner was ready. I don't flip in now. And finally for the Spectrum, I know don't all flipping cry, it's Computer Hits Volume 2. Now this game came part of the same bundle as Typhoon and V. Got some classics in there. Some games you would not, well, you may have heard of them, but I flipping haven't. Well, I heard of Codename Matt, Wizard's Lair, Technician Ted, Mutant Monty, Snooker, Android 2, On the Run, Covenant, Super Pipeline 2 and Circus. All household names. I wouldn't normally buy a compilation like that, but a friend of mine used to have those back in the day on his Commodore 64, and I'm pretty sure some of the games on his compilations were different to those. I think the Computer Hits, or was it Bo Jolly or something? Bo Jolly, yeah. They released quite a few of those back in the day, and he had all of them I think. Right, I'm going to show you those postcards I got in the post. Very strange, I've never seen them before. And because I like my Psygnosis stuff, look at that. The Combat Air Patrol Postcard. They've been awesome. Also, a game called Cytron. Do you know what? I've never ever seen these postcards before. I wonder if there's like a full set of them or something. And a game that was not released by Psygnosis, but it was so close to actually getting a commercial release. It's a shame it didn't come out, but I'm assuming it didn't get a particularly great response. Game is Superhero. So I'm pretty sure there's an ADF file of this you can play. There you go, that's my postcards. They cost me about, I don't know, £5 maybe. I thought it was a bit of a bargain really. Right, next up is a game I saw recently. Well, I didn't see it, I heard the music from this game in a video from On a Retro Tip. So thank you, Pete, that prompted me to go and buy the game, mate. I was going to call it Miami Vice, it's called Miami Chase by Codemasters. Some say it's a bit of a precursor to Grand Theft Auto. I didn't think much of this game at all, to be honest, but I absolutely loved the soundtrack. It was developed by Team 7, who we know as Team 17. They're now called Team 36, I think. Right, next up on the Amiga, classic Shinobi. Now this game cost me about 15 quid. Nice condition, not bad. To be honest with you, it's a half decent arcade conversion. It's got a bit of damage at the back there. Probably put my finger through that if I'm not too careful, but I will use this as collateral for one that is in superior condition, because yeah, it's not a bad game. Not quite as good as the Mega Drive versions, which weren't direct ports of the arcade, but that was more of a direct port. Next up is a replacement game, or one of my favourite football management games on the Amiga, called The Manager. A little bit quirky, this one. But I used to love playing this game with my brother back in the day. We spent flipping hours on it, but it's a near, not quite mint, but it's a very good condition copy of a game I already have. Right, next up is Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Been off this one for quite some time as well on the Amiga. Not in bad condition. Bit of concave action going on down there. But again, now I've got it, I can use it as a bit of collateral. This one cost me 30 quid. I think Shinobi set me back £15 if I didn't already tell you that. So yeah, not bad at all. The actual conversion's not bad, but it's got no music in the game. And the music kind of brings a lot of atmosphere in the arcade, doesn't it? Another game I got, been after this one for ages too. It's called Dino Blaster, which is Bomberman on the Amiga. Again, not bad condition. A couple of little issues with the box. One is there, I think you might be able to see it's got a bit of crushing in it. And at the front you can probably see a bit of damage on this chap's face. Or his crack, whatever it is. But yeah, it's got a bit of tearage to it there, so we'll be replacing that at some point. Right, let's put these down a minute. Now onto the good stuff. Bit of Commodore 64 cartridges. So I bought this bundle only 2 days ago. Got it through this morning, couldn't believe it. 82 quid I think it was for the 4 games. And some kind of cartridge expander. First up then, look at that. That is some awesome bloody condition. Chase HQ 2 Special Criminal Investigations. I'll definitely be swapping this puppy out with the one I got. In fact, all 4 of these games I'm going to swap out directly after this video. Let's Chase HQ 2. Now Ocean Software released a lot of these games just on cartridge. So I don't think there's a cassette or disc version of Chase HQ or this next one. So the only way to enjoy these games on a Commodore 64 is on cartridge. The same could be said about a lot of the GX4000 games, but not all of them. Some were direct ports, but most of the Commodore 64 ones weren't. Again, another one that only came out on cartridge, and that's RoboCop 2. Not as good as the GX4000 versions, mind, but still interesting to know if you're interested, that is. RoboCop 3, which didn't make it to the GX4000, and again only came out as a cart. Absolutely fantastic condition, amazing. Really chuffed to have these. So I will be listing the 4 I have and replacing them with those. So thank you very much for watching my pickups. Again, plenty of Spectrum in there, do apologise, but I love the bloody machine myself. And thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you again real soon, hopefully for my next part of my Mega CD collection. See you in a bit.